morning everybody, how are you today? I hope you're well. Oh, it's a bit chilly, got my layers on, but I'm so glad to be here today because I haven't done any gardening for a week. Actually it's more like, it's probably a week and 2 days. I've been down quite a bit to harvest various yummies, but no gardening because we've had a week, a bit more than a week of rain. Rain. Brilliant. The ground needed it. There were a couple of clear days, quite sunny days, but I'd really got my mindset around just trying to get stuff indoors, trying to clear a few jobs out of the way. Yes, it's still a ridiculously busy time of year. I'm still doing pretty much an 18-hour day every day, but I'm grateful. If I'm that busy, it means I've got a lot of stuff, good stuff going on in my life. It's brilliant. So, I'm really glad to be back in the garden, as it were. I don't know why I gave it that then. Now today, I don't have much time down here today, and we are due rain later on, but I looked at the weather forecast yesterday. I'd seen someone who's fairly local to me. Hey Siggy! She's a few miles up the road from me. She'd done a harvest because the weather is on the turn. And I thought, ooh, let's look at the forecast. So I checked the forecast. I'm looking at nighttime temperatures. And we are due to dip. We dipped a bit last night. But we're definitely due this week. We're looking at sort of 4s and 5s. So, I wasn't planning to come today, but I'm here to do a bit of an emergency harvest. I'm going to harvest my squash, for one. I'm going to harvest any remaining peppers, whatever colour they are, because all my peppers can be eaten at all their various stages of colour. It's just that when they get to either the deep orange for orange bell, or the deep red for the paprika and the dulong de londe, that's when they're sweetest and tastiest. So no matter, I'll harvest them now. The other thing is the tomatoes. There's tons to pick, mostly green ones. Excuse me one moment. A quick little hello then. You know what always amazes me and astounds me and I love about this community is I've had a couple of messages this week from fellow gardeners to say, are you okay, Vivi? Haven't seen you in the garden. One of them had messaged to say, they both messaged to say, are you okay? But one of them had added into the message to say, I think you're okay. I think I've just been missing you because I've noticed loads of your tomatoes have gone. So I think you've been down here. Yes, I have. And yes, I'm okay. But thank you so much for asking. Yeah, so emergency rescuing today. And then the plan. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. Isn't it funny the things that make us happy? What I'm really looking forward to is this coming week. We've got a couple of rain days. That's fine. One of them is Monday, which is never a garden day for me. It's always my running around in town day. But it looks like we've got 4 dry days back to back. So I'm hoping, and this is partly why I worked really hard on the rain days at home, I'm hoping to have 4 days in the garden. I'm so looking forward to it. There's still tons to harvest. Hey buddy. There's cats to pet, obviously. But yeah, there's quite a bit to harvest, but there's a lot of winter preparation to start thinking about. The big autumn cleanup. Yay, can't wait. But also what I'm hoping to get underway this week, oh, I'm just going to wriggle back here, is something I've promised to do for ages. I've been asked to do it on a number of occasions over the last 3.5 years, so I really am going to get round to it this time, is I'm going to do my little mini-series about all the tools and equipment I use. It's probably going to be in 3 parts, a sort of big tools, small tools, accessories. And as part of that, You're giving me hairs up my nose and in my throat, old man. Yeah, I'll tell you also what my absolute essentials are, what I recommend and what I couldn't garden without. So I'll do that if, whilst I'm here all week, if we have a spot of rain, fine, I'll come in the shed and we'll do some tool chat. What else is going on, Rusty? It's like having a little PA who doesn't do any work or organising for me. I've also got with me today, oh, this will make him scarper. Don't jump, Rusty, don't jump up. There is no space up there for you. He's going to jump. Behave. Oh, on your own head, be. You see, I told you, there's no space for you up there. Now you're in a pickle, aren't you? This is my bag of the beginnings of my lavender detritus. That is going to be spread on the path behind my fence. I'll just go through that path first of all, make sure it's free of brambles from my neighbour, and if there's any weeds starting to come up, I'll have those out. I've got masses of... I told you, didn't I? I said, don't jump up there because there's not... loads of bags of lavender still. It's still that time of year when I'm taking so much home. It's brilliant. I brought my first batch of cardboard down today. The bottom line is this: I can't wait for this week. Yay! So fingers crossed the weather holds, fingers crossed my back and my knees and my elbows and my wrists hold. Such a cronky old lady. So I think it's time to shut up about all of that, get in the garden and start in on this squash harvest. I haven't counted them, so I'm going to do a guess. I like to do this each year. I'm not going to have anywhere near, I think my best year was 2018, where I had 50 something. Last year I thought I had 50 and then I found one more, so it was 51, one a week pretty much, which actually is a bit more than I need really. So I did give quite a few of those away. But I'm going to say, I'm going to do a quick guess, I'm going to say 10 and 10. I'm going to say, look, 25, and I think 25 at most. Yeah. But anyway, let's go and gather in these beautiful shapes and colours. Really can feel that the temperature's dropping. Okay, I have to go for this beauty first, don't I? So, now, hold on a tick. Don't need any of these worms and snails. Thing when you're harvesting, let me show you this one. Hoopla! Isn't that a beauty? When you're harvesting your squash, pumpkins, whatever it is, the winter types for storing, do make sure you leave a nice bit of stalk on, because this little area where the stalk joins the fruit, this is its most vulnerable point. It's soft. If you take all the stalk away, this soft area, that's where it can start to rot. Oh, yes. Yes, Cinderella, you shall go to the ball. Brilliant. Nice one to start with. Hoopla. Then, cream of the crop. Sorry, the big orange one, that's the Rouge Vif de Tombe. Hello, lovely. How are you?
Hi. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, just harvesting, dodging rain showers.
Oh, lovely. Look at that. That's prize winning, that pumpkin.
I'm just going to... How are you attached? Oh, that was a really lovely little interruption. We're into that time of year, aren't we, where we just see each other less frequently. Obviously, at the height of summer, we all see each other every day when we're watering. But yeah, lovely kind of distraction for a minute. Nice to catch up. Obviously, comparing notes, isn't that what gardens do? How are your beans? How are your sweet corn? How are your squash? And of course, the big thing that we're all talking about this year is that here we are in the middle of, I was going to say November, not November, middle of October, and we've all got tomatoes on the go still. Crazy. Right, so I've just moved over. These are my Jack be little, Jack be very little, but Jack be very pretty. I'm dying to taste these. Actually, I was just saying to Ahmed that with everything I'm picking today, it's going to be one of those days when I get home this evening and I think, I don't know what I want to eat because I want to eat everything. Oh my giddy goodness. Right, these two little babies, really late developers. They look like a little pair of satsumas. I'm not going to win any giant veg competition, am I? But as I always say, oh, that's a reach. None of this is about size, none of it's about how they look. It's all about how do they taste, how do they store. If something stores well and tastes great, I don't care how it looks. Okay, so that's that little lot. I'm just going to come under you now and get the very pathetic butternuts from this bed. Oh, and I've got the yellow scallops to grab and the wonky delicatas, and then we'll move into the horizontal squash bed. Oh, I love squash harvest. Chicken. This is the variety called yellow scallop. Now, apparently, you can use them both as a summer squash and a winter squash. So in the summer, hang on a sec, in the summer when the skins are soft, use them as you would any of the summer squash, courgette type things. But apparently the skins will toughen for storage. So a little bit of a disappointing yield, if I'm honest, because I think it was 3 plants. One didn't produce any, one produced 1, and 1 produced 2. But they're very beautiful. Again, it will be that it'll be that taste testing. Also, they didn't climb, they're a clump former, so I wasted TP space with them. Right, these pathetic little butternuts, but actually perfect for one person, me. This one, let me show you this one. Huh, look at that, flowering still, crazy. That one is nowhere near ripe. You can see it's massively green still. They do ripen. Well, it should ripen. I've had a number of squash over the years that I've harvested green, and then over the course of a couple of months they will turn orange or turn blush, turn whatever colour they're supposed to. Right, the delicatas are in. That's this bed. Let's go and do the horizontal bed. Morning, lovelies. Ooh, I've been so looking forward to doing this bed. This bed has definitely had more foliage going on than the climbers. Well, it's not that they've had more foliage, but because they're all on the ground, this is what I'm trying to get at. hold on. Yeah, because it's all on the ground. The fruits have been less obvious until now. Yes, oopla. They're all going to need a good clean. That's what I just love about this harvest. Oopla. That sort of variation in colour and form, isn't that gorgeous? Ah, yes. Oh, not forgetting these ones. Another. Ah, yes, over there. I'm not worrying about the mud on them as I'm picking them. Just getting picked. I think these are the last ones. Chunky monkey. Oh, that doesn't look very good. Oh, it's been nibbled. Urgh. I've never known that before. This one, I did notice it's split. Oh, and also nibbled. There might be some flesh I can save though. Okay, otherwise, woo, yay, I think that's it. What a gorgeous sight is that. Right, let's go and dump these at the shed and have a little count up. Yay! Hurrah for the annual pumpkin shot, squash shot. Oh, I love this moment every single year. Oh, is that rain? Go away, stay away. Yeah, what a great moment every year to see them amassed together in all their beautiful shapes, sizes, textures, colours. They really are one of my most favourite veg for so many reasons. Firstly, they taste great and they're dead versatile. I can use them for so many different dishes. Brilliant. Secondly, they store with no fuss, no attention, no electricity, no preparation, nothing. All I will do is give them all a clean. I'll normally clean them with, I just get a bowl of water, a couple of drops of tea tree in there, just to make sure there's no nasty little microbes clinging to the outside of them. Give them all a clean, and then boom, that's it. Stick them under my bed. And they'll store quite happily for a year or more. In fact, I've still got a handful from last year left to enjoy. So yeah, they taste great, they store dead easily, but also in a completely, it's got nothing to do with being self-reliant, anything like that. They're just a joy to see. It's a joy to go on the treasure hunt. The squash harvest is in! It's Mark and Mon. Yeah, they're such a joy to go looking for amongst the foliage. Sometimes you spy one and then you can't see it the next day, and then as the foliage dies back, so they're fun to grow too. Ah, here's our Mark and Mon. Just to warn you, the camera's on.
Oh, I guess that.
But yeah, it's the annual squash photo shoot. How are you two?
That's good.
Aren't they pretty? Oh, and I forgot to say, I've done the count. 31, excluding the 2 that were damaged. However, what I would say is some of them are so little, it's more like 20. Because some of them I'm going to have. Look at these, they're like little satsumas.
Oh.
They were late developers.
So
right.
how many of the varieties?
I'm going to turn you lot off for a minute so I can catch up with these two. So annoyingly, it's really started to spit with rain. That's fine, it's not going to stop me doing things. It just means that you need to come in the shed where it's dry. Oh my goodness, what a lovely morning. All sorts of folks turning up I haven't seen for ages, and it's just always a joy, isn't it, to share with our friends. So I've been over and had a look at a couple of other friends' gardens this morning to see how they're getting on, and you know, we've had this rain, so suddenly things are looking green again, and as we're removing all the faded summer stuff, I was just saying to Mark and Mon actually, especially, they've got a beautiful brassica bed. I'd love to show you at some point. But now all this faded stuff is being taken away. Suddenly all the brassicas come into their own. They look so beautiful, these gorgeous rich greens and purples in some cases. And of course the parsnips and carrots for those who've got carrots. Oh, great time of year, isn't it? So what I've just... itchy cat nose. What I've just quickly done is another, I think this, yeah, the final harvest of the peppers. So some of the little runts, some that I was waiting. Oh, it was getting there to ripen. With the paprikas, you can see they're sort of yellowy orange. Like I said, they're perfectly edible like this. They just won't be as sweet and have that lovely warmth to them. Not quite yet, but waste not, want not. So it's one of those days where I'm going to have to think as well, think ahead. I didn't actually think about this morning, stupidly. The squash can stay in the shed for now, because although it's getting chilly outside, it won't get that cold in here. The tomatoes, I'm going to have to bring the tomatoes home, which also means I'm going to have to preserve the tomatoes. Right, let's set to it. I think for the tomato harvest I'm going to have a basket for ripe stuff, a basket for green stuff, and my rubbish pail for where some have split because we've had so much rain. If they were a fresh split, I'd harvest them, but some of them the split it's days old and they've already started to get a bit mouldy in there. You know, I don't want to consume that. If it's on a really big tomato, I might cut that bit out, but where it's on the cherry tomatoes, I'm not going through the faff of cutting those bits out. Look, I've got more than enough tomatoes. So yeah, I'll take a rubbish bucket with me for the ones that are split and manky. They'll go in the compost heap, and what does that mean? Yes, more volunteers next year. Right, okay, let's get organised with a couple of baskets, a rubbish bucket, and go and pick what ought to be the very last of the tomatoes. Okay, so I'm amongst the tomatoes, obviously. What I've done is I've just quickly gone through and harvested any that are red, almost red, usable. I've taken off all of the ones which are they're just starting to rot because of all this rain. compost. And now I thought the easiest thing to do is, I've got my gorgeous new trug with handles. I've just lined it with a refuse bin liner for now. We get given these by the council and I hardly use them, so I keep them in the shed, dead useful. Because literally all I'm going to do now is grab whatever little trusses of green fruits there are. Some of them are my tiny little cherry types, Gardener's Ecstasy. Some of my lovely Gardener's Delights. A gorgeous Gary's Gorgiosity. So yeah, I'm just going to go through them all because it is going to start chucking down again soon. Just get them all off like this on their stalks, on their trusses, what have you. Get them home, and then once they're at home, I can separate them all out and lay them out in my window for a nice sun bath. I've done that frequently in the past, and you know, I do get some ripening. Of course I'd prefer for them to ripen on the vine, but for goodness sakes, it's the middle of October, they shouldn't even still be growing. So yeah, I'll get, some of them will ripen, and like little bunches of grapes. And those that don't, as I mentioned previously, I'm going to try a green tomato curry, because I love curry. People often talk about chutney and things like that for me. Well, there's two reasons I don't do it, which I think what I'll do is I'll talk to you about it properly in the shed, because it's starting to spit again, and I think I need to put all of you away for a while. Bye for now. Go on, off you go, back to the shed. Even though they're green, I think they're really rather beautiful, aren't they? So, like I said, no idea how many of them will ripen. Some are on their way. Some Amish paste tucked in there. But yeah, waste not, want not, to give them a go. Now I have to think about getting these home, the red ones, and the peppers, because they will need to get into the freezer quite soon. And begin to think about getting the squash home too. Busy, busy, busy. Well, the weather is definitely not behaving today. It started raining again. It's not supposed to start for about another 4 hours, but never mind. I've done what I came to do, which is get those squash, get them indoors, get the tomatoes, get the peppers. The colours, it's so beautiful at this time of year. I just, literally every time I do a pick, I kind of have that moment of staring at my basket and just soaking it all in. It's beautiful. Right, so yes, when I was in the tomato patch, I was about to say strawberry patch, I don't grow strawberries. I was saying about the green tomatoes and making curry. Let's see if some of them ripen first. But the thing about making curry versus chutney, so there's two reasons I don't do chutney. One is I don't really like it. I just don't like it. But the other thing is, chutney isn't a meal. It's something you put on the side of a meal, isn't it? I think, is it something you have with a ploughman's lunch? I don't know. Anyway, the point is, it's not a meal, whereas a green tomato curry is a meal. And the way I use the garden, the way I use my produce for food, I try to make a meal as complete as possible just with what I've grown. I try not to end up buying ingredients to make dishes. So occasionally I'll see a recipe and I think, oh, that looks lovely. But then I look at the ingredients and I think, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that. And I kind of weigh up the cost and think, it's not worth it. because if those ingredients aren't something I would otherwise regularly use, then I'm not going to do it. I mean, obviously, if it's something like rice or lentils, then yes, I would buy that as an extra ingredient because I do anyway. In other words, I wouldn't be buying it for a one-off recipe. That's something I have in my store cupboard anyway. So yeah, that's the two reasons I don't grow chutney. One, it's not a meal, and two, I mean, I don't even know what the ingredients in chutney are, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have any. But never mind the ingredients to make the chutney, I would then be having to buy bread and cheese and whatever it is you have chutney with. So, yes, hooray to trying green tomato curry for the first time. I was having a little think about it the other day about why am I so averse to green tomatoes, because folk have suggested fried green tomatoes. Tried it, didn't like it. I'm always prepared to try something once, but yeah, wasn't a fan. Now I think part of the, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit like about the curry. I'm really not sure. So the first time I make it, I will just make a really small portion because I will be adding other bits and pieces of my produce to it. So I'll make a really small portion to start with, because then if I really hate it, I won't have wasted too many other ingredients, but at least I will have tried it. And I think my reluctance is, it's part of my hindbrain, my primeval brain. My eyes are looking at this green fruit. They're sending a message to my brain, and like I said, my hindbrain is telling me, do not eat it, it's not ripe. Because generally when we eat things that aren't ripe, you know, we can get a tummy upset, they won't taste good, all these different things. We're designed to avoid things because they're not good for us. And I think that's what I've had over the years. I've had that kind of overriding mechanism to say, don't eat them green. But I'm going to get over that. I'm going to try it. So, yes, any of you who saw my video a couple of videos back about my day in the life of a frugal girl at harvesting and processing time, if any of you spotted the mistake on the thumbnail for the second part, you'll have noticed it was the hair vesting time. Yeah, you will have seen the stairs at my home. So I get to this stage in the day when I'm packing up and I think, oh, I've got all those stairs to do. Gird yourself. So I'm going to say a fond cheerio to you. I've just seen Emma coming over again. I'm going to say a fond cheerio to all of you for now. Please stay well, take care, and hopefully I'll get this full week in the garden. So I'll see you again really soon, I hope. Bye for now.